Hello, YouTube, final community. Happy Friday, Slancha, Logan, with Nerdy Vinyl once again. Today, I'm going to start a series of videos that I've been thinking about, and I know that there's people that do these as well. So I'm not trying. I don't really want to copy anybody, but what it is it's dollar finds. This is a stack of dollar records that I got this week. So I'm just gonna go through these. The thing is, I'm just gonna go through them, show you if there's a story behind why I bought it. I'll explain that. If not, if it's just I just got it just because it looked good or because it's something I thought would be nice to have, I'll just leave it at that. Okay, this one's got a story. These have a little bit of a story. Let's go with ones that don't have a story, shall we? First, let's do this one here. The Ktell Records 24 Greatest Tearjerkers. It's just a bunch of sad songs from the 50s and 60s, like Leader of the Pack, It's My Party, Great Pretender, To Know Him Is to Love Him, Lonely Teenager, stuff like that. That's it. Nothing fancy, nothing special. There's a band that I've been wanting to get some of, and I saw this and thought, meh, what the hell? Herman's Hermits. Yeah, no particular reason why I picked this one. I'm into something good. Welcome My Angel, Show Me Girl, Sea Cruise. You know, it's that. Get another one. I want to try to get away from getting a bunch of greatest hit stuff, but I seem to just find them, and when I find them, I go, yeah, I'll get that. Especially if it's a band I don't have a lot of, but like this, it's on the turntable, that's why it's in it. But the Kingsmen's Greatest Hits, it's Louie Louie, Jolly Green Giant, Money, Killer Joe, Something Got a Hold on Me, Hard Day's Night, you know, classic Kingsman stuff. Another one I got, Genie C. Riley, Harper Valley PTA. You can see it's got little rips here and here. It looked like when I bought it, it looked like it was in decent shape. Again, no inner sleeve. But when I played it, the first two tracks on the A side were good. Then it gets really fuzzy and muted and kind of shit. So this is essentially $1 for the Harper Valley PTA single, essentially, because I don't know that I want to play the rest of it just because I don't want to damage my stuff, you know. This is what it is. But I saw this in a dollar bin. They had two different copies of it, and this one was in the better shape. But it's on stage, Into Messina. It's from recordings from San Francisco, New York, and Boston, April 72 and March 73. The New York and Boston were literally a day, or was it? Yeah, 2 days apart. So, but listen to this. It's pretty cool. It's got a lot, it's got their hits on it, but it's very, very cool artwork, I think, on the inside. But it's in really, really good shape. I didn't notice this pen mark right here till I got home. But, I mean, the spine looks good. It's flat. It plays very well. So I was happy about that. And I'd never seen it. And I'd never seen live Into Messina, so pick that up. Another one, Jerry Clower from Yazoo City, Mississippi. I think, and I could be wrong, I really should fact check myself before I say things, but I think this is his first album, but this is on Decca from 71. I've got a few more of his albums. I'll have to look at them. I do know he was on MCA. I don't know if he was on MCA first. I'll have to look it up. But this, for those people that don't know, Jerry Clower was like, he was a fertilizer salesman. He worked for a big fertilizer company, and he would go around the country speaking at conventions and stuff. And somebody with one of his deals said, your storytelling is great. You should make an album. So he did, and he became a Grand Ole Opry star, very famous in the 70s. But if it wasn't for this guy right here, there would be no Jeff Foxworthy, no Bill Engvall, Rodney Carrington, Larry the Cable Guy, Ron White, all those country, redneck, blue-collar comedians wouldn't really exist without this guy, people like this guy and Minnie Pearl. He played a big part in that. His style of storytelling is very similar to other comedians of the same vein. But yeah, so I saw this, and this is one that I needed, and I was very excited to find it. Like I said, I have a few more of his albums as well. This one I was very excited about. Hugo Montenegro, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, as well as Fistful of Dollars and Few Dollars More. This is basically a soundtrack to the Man Without a Name series. Saw this and was very, very excited about it. Just because I'm a huge fan of that whole spaghetti western genre of Clint Eastwood movies. Well, not just Clint Eastwood, but these were the Clint Eastwood movies. The spaghetti westerns, as most people know, were a bunch of westerns made in the 70s. I believe it was the 70s. 68. So it would have been the 60s. But they made them in Italy because they could... A couple of reasons. One, it was cheaper. And two, they could get... There was scenery that they needed for that feel, where they could go and build these little towns and stuff, and where it was just open, untouched, And so, but love these movies. Love all three of them. Very cool. Okay, I'll show these two. These are both C.W. McCall, Wolf Creek Pass, and Black Bear Road. If you don't know, he did that song Convoy. It was dark of the moon on the 6th of June in Kenworth pulling logs. Cab over Pete with a reefer on and a Jimmy hauling hogs. If you ever heard that song, that's who this guy is. His music is pretty great. It's all story song. Everything he does is a story. And they have everything from trucking to driving trail. It's hard to explain, but his stuff is great. But what's interesting, and this is something that I literally just found out recently, he is from a little town east of here. I'm in Omaha. He's from a little town about an hour and a half east in Iowa called Audubon, Iowa. And when I say it's a small town, it's a small town. I live in South Omaha, and our town has 7,000 people. I think Audubon has less. That's how small it is. Well, I just found that out, but one thing that I thought was cool is I was looking at these the other day, and let me see if I can show you, see if you can see it. These records were both recorded in Omaha, Nebraska. I thought that was very cool. But yeah, these are albums, kind of one of those deals where I see them a lot, and I never pick them up. I never get them because they're usually pretty rough. This one is probably the more sought after, just because it does have that Convoy on it, but it is in really good shape. And if you ever see the CD, this is the picture that's actually on the cover of the CD. It's interesting, instead of this. But yeah, that's cool. This one, same thing, recorded in Nebraska, Iowa, or Omaha. This one has some songs that are good. Wolf Creek Pass. I've trucked all over this land. Night Rider, 4-wheel drive, Sloan. Old Home, Fill Her Up and Keep on Trucking, Cafe. Yeah, look that song up. That song is hilarious. Okay, moving on. Another album that I found that I've never seen in person, and it's got songs that I love on it. It is Trolley Daniels Band, Fire on the Mountain. Very cool, very good looking gatefold. This has some of my favorites: Long Haired Country Boy, Trudy, Georgia, South's Gonna Do It Again, No Place to Go, and Orange Blossom Special. Those are all songs that I learned through a greatest hits. It's called his Decade of Hits, and most of those songs are on there. And there's another one he did that has some of the others. But it does have this song right here, the first track. Let's see if I can get it to show up. It's called Caballo Diablo. Now, the first time I ever heard that song, I heard Chris Ledoux sing it, and I thought it was a song that he wrote. I later heard a duet with him and Charlie Daniels singing that song, and that's when I found out that Charlie Daniels had written that song. I never listened to the Charlie Daniels version, and I gotta say, hearing the original, I don't like it. Like, if that's weird, because the music is completely different, the singing is completely different, the cadence, the tone, everything about it is completely different than from what Chris Ledoux did. And when he did it with Chris Ledoux, when they did a duet of it, they did it Chris Ledoux's way, apparently. So that's interesting. But this, I was very excited to find this. For, like I said, for $1. It's very pretty, in very good shape. And the thing about it is, most of the records, the vinyl is in really good shape on these, with the exception of that Genie C. Riley album. Okay, last but not least, okay, this album really does have an interesting. Oh, I think it's interesting. It's kind of a funny story. It's John Denver's Greatest Hits. When I was in high school, junior high and high school, I had a really good friend, and we didn't have, before we could drive, his mom would take us everywhere. And one of the stipulations to that was that we would have to go with her to a thrift store. Usually it was either on our way to go where we wanted to go, or on the way after she picked us up. And I went camping with his family on a trip one time to Tahoe, and we went thrift store shopping because his mom was addicted to thrift stores. And I made a joke that every thrift store in America has a John Denver record. If they sell music, they have a John Denver record. And I don't know what prompted me to say that. Like, I literally just pulled it out of thin air. Well, we looked, and sure as shit, they had a John Denver record, and it was this one. I know it might have been on 8-track, but it was definitely the greatest hits with the leather hat and all that. So what we would do is, to pass the time, whenever his mom would make us go with her to a thrift store, is we would hunt for the John Denver album in every thrift store we went to. And we might have found a tape, a VHS, a tape, an 8-track, or a record. 9 times out of 10, it was this one. Almost always, it was this one. What makes that funny or interesting is that to this day, if I go to a thrift store, I look for a John Denver record. As an adult, more importantly, as somebody who's really into collecting records and vinyl now, I never see John Denver in thrift stores anymore, ever. So when I found this in a dollar bin, I just knew. I was like, okay, it's a sign, and so I bought it. But that's it. That is my dollar record finds for the week. That's it. That's all I got. So until next time, guys, have a great day, great evening, whatever it is when you're watching this, and see you next time. Later.